How about we do that? That works too. Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. I am a little underdressed, it seems. Let me put my safety equipment on real fast. Welcome to the stream. Hey Mahalo, hey Corwin, hey Sandwich. Thank you so much, Corwin and Mahalo, for those sub re-ups. Thank you so much for that continued support. Man, time is flying. You guys are gonna start subscribing, and we're gonna get to the point where I need to do another subscriber icon. So our last one, I think it was the post vice. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to come up with a new icon. You think you fix everything but cats, cars, and what? Broken hearts is the last item on my shirt. Hey, Koo. Yeah, so it says, we fix anything but cats, cars, and broken hearts. So it is a shirt that I got from the Metals Museum in Memphis, Tennessee, and it was one of their repair days shirts. So every year is a fundraiser. They have in I think it's like September, October-ish. They have like a fundraiser where metalsmiths from all walks of life and all across the world come and gather in Memphis and repair, volunteer to repair different pieces that the community brings in, and they pay, or the community pays to have them fixed, and the artists donate their time to fix them. So all the proceeds go to continuing to fund the museum for the next year. So cars is because we're not mechanics, we're just metalsmiths. And you know, only time can heal a broken heart. We're also not veterinarians, you know. They mentioned cats though, because cats are one of the unofficial mascots for the Memphis Metals Museum. There are two shop cats, and one is named Spats. That's the youngest one, and I can't remember what the other ones. It's been years since I've been out there, unfortunately. Hey Shelly, welcome to the stream. Hello everyone, welcome. So we are going to have an ad in about 2 minutes. So I think while I'm waiting for that ad to go, we are going to kind of talk about the piece for today. So I have been working on making some animal sculptures. So this is the third one that we've done in a series. We started with this lizard, and this was my first attempt at making kind of an animal. It was a little bit harder than I thought it would be, and this guy is a little bit more on the geometric side than I, would have liked. So we tried again, and we started to try and do just a dog head. And I don't know, I think it looks more like a llama or something. So, another miss, but maybe, we learned a few more things. So today, well, I guess it was Wednesday, we started a third piece. And this is just supposed to be like a four-legged creature. I wasn't really sure what I wanted it to be. Mythic creatures, yes. They're probably more mythic creatures than anything specific. But I think this looks mostly like a horse. And I think that's mostly the head and the legs. I think the tail is way too long. So if I want to turn this into a horse, we'll probably end up cutting the tail in half to kind of give us a little bit more tail, less like, I don't know, lizard tail maybe. So that's my plan for today, is attempting to make this into a horse. Maybe it will turn into a weird conglomeration of nothingness, but we're going to try it. Reminds me of the slogan of the state of Braden Württemberg, known for the interesting accent. We can do anything but speak standard German. Chupacabra! Maybe that's what these guys are. It is very streamlined. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I think the legs are what really reminds me of a horse, you know, like a galloping horse. And I mean, so maybe it'll turn into what a horse, and maybe yeah, like I said, it might just become like some kind of mythical creature, monster, chupacabra thing. So I think the first thing that we're gonna do today is we're gonna obviously turn on the forge and we're gonna start heating things up. And so I've got kind of an idea of how I want to go about things, but it might take me a few heats to kind of get warmed up and kind of figure out how I'm going to hold the piece as we're working. And yeah, thanks for snoozing the ad, Mahalo. I do have, I haven't finished yakking, at least my intro yet. There we go. Alrighty. So we got a heating up forge, and let's stick our mysterious animal in there. Of course, I'm just being silly. Please don't let me shape your creativity. No, it's fine. Like I said, I want to try and make it into a horse, but if I can't get it to do what I think that it should be able to do, then I don't know, we'll turn it into something interesting. Alrighty. Let's put some headphones on so I can hear myself. So, yeah, it is a really nice day today. It's a little on the humid side today, but we're in the 70s, so it's like super, super nice. Like not too cold that I need a sweatshirt, but not too hot that I feel like I'm going to sweat through my clothes. And so it's such a nice day today. It rained all day yesterday though, so like I said, it's a little bit humid today. So I don't know, maybe I will be sweating a little bit, not because of it's hot, because there's just so much liquid in the air. So, I don't know. Let's see. So on Wednesday, we had a package come. Definitely spring rainy season. It is so totally April showers bring May flowers this year so far. Yeah, I've got stories about the starter seeds that I'm trying to do, and I've got some other stuff to talk about today. So we've got quite the docket. So yeah, like I said, on Wednesday we got a package, and I went out to get it, and I told you guys that it was supposed to be a couch, and it was like yay big, like a box, and it was yay tall and about that wide and that long or whatever, right? And you guys told me that it was going to be like a Barbie couch, and I was fully expecting it to be a Barbie couch, but then when the butler came home to open the package, apparently it was a Cardinals baseball calendar, and I was like, what? Why do we need a Cardinals baseball calendar? Apparently, the Butler's television station is partnering with the Cardinals for all of their second run content. So the calendar was ordered for a commercial. So we've got one of our friends is going to be starring in this commercial. So that's what the Butler is doing today. It could be an interesting commercial. And yeah. So interesting fact. We did, however, get the couch. That came yesterday. And so we put it all together and we put it in the van. So now we have a bed, a shelf, and a couch, and an air conditioner, and yeah, in our van. So the camper is starting to take shape in another form. So it should be really nice at the end of this month when we go when we go to the Ozarks for the BAM conference. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. The couch is actually pretty comfy, and it's really short. I didn't think that we'd be able to get a couch short enough to fit in the van, but I don't know. Amazon delivers. Almost ready for travel. Yes, I'm super excited to go to the Ozarks. Um, and yeah, we're going to be streaming live probably on Saturday afternoon. So we will be, I think we're actually going to be streaming on Friday as well as Saturday that week, because we aren't going, or I can't leave until the butler gets home from work. So it's going to be like a late night travel thing. So we shall see how well that goes. And I'll keep you guys posted about when that's going to happen and what's going to, what we're going to do, the plan and everything. We've got a brand new setup for travel streaming. Instead of streaming from the phone, we're going to be streaming from the laptop, just like we do here. So fingers crossed that works, and hopefully it'll make an improvement in our stream capabilities for when we are on the go. So we are in the middle of an ad break. Goodness gracious. And so once that ad break is over, we're going to take a look at our piece. It's looking like it's almost hot enough. And so we should be able to do our first heat pretty quickly. You know what? I think I forgot to start recording that, but that's all right. I do want to do a wide recording though. Okay. I think I'm going to start from this angle on the close-up camera. And we should be good to go. Does the butler ever come into the workshop? Yes. The butler normally is working during stream time. So a lot of times the butler will come and help me on the weekends, or when the butler has days off, they will come and help me. So in the past, when we've been working with the Coal Forge, every time we've had the butler with us, and to kind of take care of all of the technological stuff, the cameras and the laptop and changing views and all that stuff. So I don't have to think about it, because I have to really pay attention to the Coal Forge every time we break it out. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this summer we should be able to get a couple of days out of the butler and do some coal forging. And yeah, however, the butler tends not to be in front of the camera. I think that we've only seen the butler one time in front of the camera, and that was at Quad State last fall. All right. So let's do our first heat. Let's see how well this works. I do want to grab a cross peen too. We've got, I'll put the cross peen right there. And we're gonna be using that. I had it's not necessarily having a dream about it, but close. I've really been thinking about what order I wanna do things in. All right, so we're gonna put the horse down like so, and then we're going to use the hold down in order to attempt to hold it while we're working. And we're trying to kind of give ourselves a neck. So this heat, we're going to focus on this side, and the next heat, we are going to focus on the other side. So we're trying to define the neck and shoulders. Put that there. So we've made a tiny bit of progress. You can kind of see that I'm trying to go a little bit diagonally and kind of define the shoulders of those legs and kind of thin out the neck area. So we're going to try the other side for our next heat. We're going to go back and forth for a little bit each heat. Afternoon, Ping. Hello. Project is looking great. Greetings, greetings. Hey, Bluesy, welcome to the stream. Hello, hello. I will endeavor to do my best to entertain you, Bluesy. Yes. And your goats, you know. So yeah, we are trying to define a neck and shoulders on a horse. That's my goal is to create a horse. Ooh, a 3-stream streak. Thanks for the loyalty. That is amazing. Thank you so much for your support, Bluesy. So yeah, like I said, we are going to be flipping the horse after every heat. We're probably going to be using the hold down to kind of hold things in place and make sure that I don't end up flinging the horse in random different directions. And we'll see how well that works. It might work a little bit, you know, nicely, maybe not. I don't know. Not really. I should be at 50 or so. Yeah, I think that they're a little bit picky on the streaks as to what counts, right? There's a part of me that I think they've added a new like thing that pays attention to what tab you're on, right? Because I've noticed on my own watch habits that, because I watch streams so that I can get drops for the video games that I play. And I've noticed that if I'm not immediately tabbed onto my Twitch, it doesn't count my views. So my timer for my drops doesn't go up. So I think that it's being a lot more picky if you have multiple tabs up, which I think that's BS, because I don't think that a stream should be your primary tab, right? Most people, they use streams as podcasts, right? So you've got like 3 or 4 or however many tabs up, and I don't think it's fair that they don't count your view, or if that's even the case. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, feel free to, you know, switch tabs or whatever while you're watching, you know. You can always tab back during the exciting parts. It is bull indeed. I have 3 screens and I'm often working on another one while watching, right? Yeah. I think that it's a pain in the butt. Yeah, I think it's 3 tabs channels max. Oh, okay, for view credit. That makes sense. Yeah, I was having some issues because I run 3 or 4 tabs plus a game, right? Because I've got Discord up, I got my game up, I've got YouTube up, because a lot of times I'm like uploading content. And then I have the Facebook tab too, because, you know, while I'm not paying that close of attention to certain things, I scroll through Facebook just for memes and things. So yeah, I think that it's not fair. If I should be able to have 5 tabs up. All right. I need a thing. Give me a moment. Apologies. I think I'm just going to use this. This is a round offcut from, I think this one was actually from one of our punches or chisels. So I'm going to take this guy and it's going to be, I'm going to use it as a fuller when we get to the point where the neck starts to kind of shift and it's no longer hitting the edge of the anvil. So we'll use that as a fuller. I haven't been on MySpace in years. Did I say MySpace? I think I meant Facebook. I'm trying to watch what you're doing, but I'm slightly preoccupied making a genogram on another screen. See? I'm second screen content. I know that. You guys know that. I'm not, I don't think that you should be like primary. I think we need lots of tabs so that we can multitask, right? I think most streamers and Twitch itself wouldn't care how many channels you have open, but it's advertiser attention that drives the policy. I agree. I think it's all money. No, I said MySpace. Haven't been on Facebook like MySpace. Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes some sense. Yeah, it's been forever since I even paid any attention to MySpace. Does MySpace still exist? I mean, if it does, there's this like game that I used to play on MySpace, and I probably have like so much of their, currency. That would be really funny. They used to have those little games where you just like log on or whatever. Yeah. All right, let's try this again. How we doing? Okay. Making some progress. There we go. As I drop that, that's all right. I have not changed, or I have not modified the drop counter, or I mean reset it. So, yeah. Apologies. All right, so you can see right there that I've started kind of pinching in the neck from the rest of the body. I'm trying to create a set of shoulders. We'll also pinch in the back a little bit because horses kind of have a thinner back than belly. And I think that's what we're trying to do. I don't want to pinch in the rest of the head quite as much as I want to do the neck. Because horses have smaller heads, but I want enough area to give it eyes and a nose and stuff. So I need to keep it somewhat big. It's going to be a little bit stylistic. MySpace was better than Facebook. I miss those days of changing around my top friends, who my top friends were, and adding music to my channel. Right? All of the different fights that would occur when we changed our top friends around, because why did I get moved down? Why did this person get moved up, Popularity contests. Do you stream your games? I might have asked before. I do not stream my games, mostly because I don't do anything amazingly exciting anymore. Back several years ago, I used to be one of the top raters in a couple of different games. Specifically Elder Scrolls Online. I was probably one of the top 100 players in that game for a while. But I retired from doing that. So nowadays, I do crafting dailies. I gather. Occasionally, I'll do a normal dungeon. But that stuff I just find that boring. It's just kind of like busy work. I don't do anything exciting. Yes, I did know that still exists, but who knows how to get in there? I don't think I have my login information for my MySpace either. It's like I used to have a bunch of usernames and emails, and those don't exist anymore, right? My first email, I lost the password to that eons ago. I still have my Google email, and the only reason I still have that is because I have to know that login for like my phone and stuff. But yeah, I don't really do hardcore gaming anymore. I feel like the same effort that I spend doing that, I have been spending on streaming and building a community here on Twitch and on YouTube. So I just don't quite have the mental capacity to keep up with the trends and keep up with the meta anymore as much. Because a lot of times I ended up becoming the raid leaders, and I just don't have the time to maintain all my social media, like, Twitch and YouTube, as well as maintain relationships for a raid and alternates and all of that stuff. So, I mean, maybe one of these days I will get involved again, and I might stream if I get involved again. But right now, I'm only streaming the blacksmithing stuff. All right, let's do another heat. I can't focus my time on games anymore either. Too much work. I just want to have fun, right? We've been doing a whole bunch of picnics and working on the van and making sure that all of that works. Turning our van into a camper is a full-time job practically. At least it is for the butler. I kind of just reap the benefits of that. Drop again. You know what? I'm going to go this direction. You guys will be able to see a little bit easier. And I won't get my hand. Alrighty. We're starting to get a nice shoulder going there. Stay. Roar. And we're gonna turn this direction one more time. I kind of looks like I flattened out that side a little bit. Maybe we will, this is the time where we need to put a fuller in there just so that it stays angled. That might actually be a little bit too big now that I think about it. I am a competitive solitaire player. I'll bet. I get really competitive about solitaire. And you know what else? Minesweeper, you know? I gotta make sure that the bigger the minefield, the better it is, right? Building out the van is one thing, but who has to wash it? Building out, I don't think we've ever washed the van as of right now. I hope that it's watertight. We put a plug in the side. It's called shore power, but basically it's just this like little plug that goes through a hole in the side of the van. And it's been relatively watertight in the rain, but the water jets on a car wash is completely different than rain. That horizontal water splash. I don't know. I'd be afraid to test it, Oh man, I used to love playing Minesweeper. Haven't played that in years. Yeah, I used to love Minesweeper. The bigger the minefield, the better. I thought I was just the coolest person for being able to complete them. I think there actually is a competitive Minesweeper scene, though. I don't know that I'm familiar enough with it, but I think that it's out there. I know it is. I also adore Go. Chess, not so much. See, I've never actually played Go. My only knowledge of Go is because I watched this anime called The Apothecary Diaries, right? It's about this girl who is in like generic Chinese court life, and her father is obsessed with the game Go. And so I don't know how to play it or anything. I just know that it's like white and black pebbles on some board and you move them around or something. So I don't know much about it, but I know that it exists. Chess, not so much. See, I used to love chess until I couldn't, or I didn't have a chance of winning anymore, right? I guess I'm not good enough to like look up strategies and memorize things. I'm not the best at that kind of strategy. But yeah, all of the old style games. I also love Hearts. And what is it? It's like solitaire, but you have like 4 slots and you have to like build up the 8. I guess that's also solitaire. There's a different form of solitaire that was on the computers. I love that one too. Go is a fantastic game. It's a very strategic. Free Cell, yes, that's it. I used to love Free Cell. That was a great game. I started playing that over solitaire for quite a while because solitaire, it got to this point where I could just win every single time, right? And I don't know if it was just like the way the computer was mixing the cards or if I just somehow figured out the best way to shift all of the cards around. But I got bored. I am not patient enough for chess. Think through every move. Nah, this can be automated, right? There's only so many games of chess, right? Every move can be calculated from the very first 2 moves, right? Because you got to kind of figure out what the opening move is, and then once you've got both opening moves, you can probably calculate the rest of the game, unless you have a complete novice, right? A complete novice is always the one that's going to throw off the game because they don't use the strategies, right? So I feel like once you get to a certain point, it's not going to be fun anymore. True, there are way more options to go, right? Okay. Let's change our view. That's the other reason I hate the game Final Fantasy, right? Final Fantasy 14. I like WoW so much better. And the reason is because there are only so many solutions to the Final Fantasy 14 boss fights. And so once you learn them, then it's not fun anymore, right? And now this isn't going to work right. All right, we're going to... I don't know that this is going to work the way I want it to. Yay. Let's try this. Okay, cool. There's not enough solutions, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna put those on the floor. So I don't know that counts as a drop. So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. There went my thingy thing, but that's all right. I'll put that there for now, and that can go there for now, and we'll pick up the tongs that I put on the ground. Okay, so we kind of have a little bit of a fuller on both sides of this. So now I think what we're going to do is we're going to pay a little bit of attention to the horn of the anvil. That's probably how we're going to draw it a little bit of a neck. So I'll probably have to change the view on the camera, but we'll do it. It'll be good. Slowly but surely. Is this the animal from Wednesday? Yes, it is. Welcome to the stream, Dr. Optimal. Hello, hello. All right, so I'm going to put this guy away for the moment. Thingy. Is that a technical term? Yes, that's totally a technical term. I'm doing pretty good. How are you? I'm pretty excited that it's the weekend, right? I kind of feel like Saturday and Sunday are not enough time, you know? I need a third weekend day just to rest so that I have a full day of rest. Then I have a day where I can do fun things, and then I have a day where I can do all of the adulting that I have to do for the week, right? Get groceries, clean the house, do the yard, that kind of thing. What is a weekend? I know. There are so many people here on stream or like in this community that don't actually get weekends. And you know what? I don't really get weekends all that often either, because my weekends oftentimes one of the days I get to relax, right? Because I don't really have the ability to do 2 days in a row of really heavy like forging and work like that. So usually on Sunday, I come out here and I clean up all of the different things that we make to make them shiny and nice looking, right? Or to finish them. A couple Sundays ago, I did a whole bunch of tempering and hardening and processing for the scissors, and I made sure that they functioned and they were sharp and stuff. That's probably true for all of us, all for 3-day weekend, right? A day to relax. What is that? I'm thankful that the way my school is set up, that I have to have a summer vacation this year, or that I get to have a summer vacation this year. School is kicking my butt. I can imagine. I've seen so many like teachers and students say that this semester has been awful for them for whatever reason. Not sure why, but like my sister was telling me that she was struggling, and I've got a couple other teacher friends who've just been really struggling this semester, and I'm not sure why this semester as opposed to other semesters, you know? I did get a single day off for years when I worked in the factory. That sucked. Ooh. That kind of reminds me of when I worked at Amazon, right? Except it was like kind of the opposite. I worked 4 days in a row, but they were all like 12-hour days. Then I had a 3-day weekend, and that was nice. But like the 12 days on, or I mean the 12 hours, 4 days on in a row, I could not handle that. So I only lasted about a week at Amazon. I do not get that. Teachers, they have to work so hard, like what, 20 hours a week? Well, it's more than that, because at least here in the United States, like I don't know about European schools, but here in the United States, each teacher works 8 hours where they're actively teaching, right? And then they also have to do all of their grading and extracurricular activities. My sister probably works like 50 or 60 hours a week. It's kind of crazy. I'm still trying to put together my kitchen. I'm really not much of a crafter. After putting together 2 drawers, the computer scientist in me asks, have I done this now? The rest is copy pasta. Why am I supposed to do this 5 more times? If only you could just hit copy pasta on life, you know? Gotta do it in a montage, you know? Like, you know, in under some music, you know, a little snippet here, a little snippet there, and kind of time progression. I know some teachers, and it's a lot more hours than that. Yeah. Okay, 50 or 60 hours a week. That is what, 3 days, maybe 4 for me? I mean, I'm not saying that they work harder than you, Bluesy. You are a farmer. I don't know that you actually get days off or time off. Because, I mean, aren't you constantly on call in case something happens? No. Yeah, I just, you know, does not exist, right? Free time. That's a foreign concept to a farmer. You only have the drill screwdriver rattle for a few times in the montage, and it's done, right? Right? See, I really wanted to turn this whole first 2 years of our stream into a montage. I'm not gonna lie. I do really enjoy talking to you guys and communicating and building the relationships that we have. But it would be really nice to have started the stream and then gone 2 years and started making money already, right? That aspect makes me want to do it under a montage, but the relationship and community building aspects, I would not miss that for the world. If I could do both, that would be ideal. All right. So we have an ad that's going to be starting in any minute now. So I'm going to change the camera angle so that it's a little bit more centered on the horn, since that's where we're going to be going. And yeah, then once that ad is done, we will do our next heat. If I don't, I have so many like cables all up over here. I need to clean this weekend is what I really need to do. Although I do have a plan for what I need to do this weekend. Okay. Wait a second. I hit record, but you know what? I didn't focus my camera. Okay, I think it's all right. Cool. As long as everything's in focus, that way you guys aren't looking at fuzzy screen. Alrighty. Yeah, I mean, I have this month planned for doing a cycling trip for charity. That will happen in July, but I have my employees that will take care of the farm. You have employees? That's cool. Not every farmer has employees. All right, so we have an ad break ending in about 30 seconds. So that's really exciting, right? All righty. We're going to continue working on the neck. Oh, my goodness. That is a wall of text. It's not too bad. Alrighty, the community is back. I know not every farmer has them, but they are serious costs. They are. In Germany, how being a teacher seems so strongly dependent on how seriously you take your job. People try to do it right, tend to work a lot and burn out, but many teachers are civil servants. They cannot be fired and hardly be forced to put any effort in. So they don't burn for their job and do it right. They just don't, and nobody can do much about it. I mean, I'm not going to get too far into that discussion because, it butts up really closely to politics, and since we don't do that here. But yeah, I hear you on that. So we're going to do another heat. Alrighty. And we're starting to get some nice shoulders in here. All right. So if you look this direction, you can kind of see that everything is starting to pinch in a little bit. So we're getting there. It's going to take a couple more heats to get us where we need to go. We also need to pay a little bit of attention to kind of squish it downward a little bit. We've got a little bit of an indentation starting to form right there, and I want to kind of fix that a little bit. So I'll see what I can do there. So I've really been thinking lately about what I want to do for my next project, right? I have 3 projects in mind, and I have to decide how I want to go about doing them. All 3 of them are going to get videos, I think, but I got to decide whether I want to stream them or if I want to do the videos as a standalone weekend project for myself. So the one that I've been talking about on Wednesday, I said that I wanted to do a set of wolf jaw talks. Now I think I want to stream that one, and you guys will be able to see it, right? So that one is there and ready to start. And if we do that one first, we'll start that on Monday. The second one is I want to take a look at the chain that Mahalo sent me and turn that into another hold down, right? I'm also inclined to stream that one, right? Because I want Mahalo to be able to watch the chain that he sent me turn into the hold down. So those two I definitely want to stream, right? The hold down project is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter thing. It'll probably take me about 1 to 2 streams, right? Now the third project is one that I'm not sure that I want to put on stream. I want to create a guillotine tool. And that is a tool that sits in the hardy hole, and it's got 2 dies on it. It's basically a frame. So it's got 2 dies, and you hammer on the top die, and it kind of, you can interchange them so that they do different things. So you can use them for fullering, which is squishing in a smaller area. You can use it for kind of creating shapes, like specific shapes. You can use it for cutting, right? So that project is going to be heavily fabricated, right? So it's basically, I'm going to be drilling holes and using the angle grinder and welding and things like that. And those projects typically don't play as well. So I'm debating if I want to do that on the weekend and just put together a short video for it, or do you guys want to see me do some fabrication, you know? So I have to decide which of those projects I want to stream in what order, and if I want to stream them all. So if you guys have any opinions, if you want to see all 3 of those projects, or if you just want to see the 2 projects that I was talking about, feel free to chime in. If you guys want to see it, I'm all for it. All right, let's do another heat. All right, let's see. So I need to put something in between the legs and the neck, I think. So, I think I need to use a tool to get that to work. So I'm going to apparently drop it. All right, so we're going to heat this up and we're going to attempt it again. See what we can do there. I watch all sorts of fabrication. That's cool. I really like fabrication, but like I said, on this channel, it doesn't play quite as well. All right, so this hammer is a cross peen, but it has a much skinnier, actually, I don't think this one's quite thin enough. So we'll find a different cross peen. Yeah, it doesn't really play as well on this particular channel. But I don't know, maybe it'll surprise me and we'll get just as many viewers. So if you guys want to see the guillotine tool fabricated, We can do that. We'll start with the drill press, and we'll use those lovely step dies that you guys, or the step drill bits that you guys sent me, and we will create a frame. I got some 1/2-inch steel plate, and we can make it out of that. And then I'll have to figure out a way to make some good dies for it. My goats and I do too, even fabrication of food. Ooh, fabrication of food sounds cool. Both cooking and like manufacturing, right? So I really enjoy the how it's made videos where you get to see all of the machines and like, you know, the box makers and the machine that pours whatever into the whatever. I think that's really cool looking. So I don't know, maybe you guys are right. Maybe I should just do all of it on stream. So do you guys have a specific order, or actually I should probably just do it or figure out what I want, what I feel like doing, right? So I don't know. Maybe Monday's stream will be a surprise. It'll be one of those 3 things. So it'll either be the tongs, the guillotine tool, or it will be the hold down. But I need both of those, or all 3 of those tools. So I think it should be a fun project overall. I think it depends on if I have a chance to burn the coating off some spring steel. That's probably a good way to pick. All right, let's do another heat. Do I have a... Okay, yeah, we can do that. Okay. I'm going to put this on the flat of the anvil, and I'm going to try and make sure that it is up like so. And then maybe it'll work this way. Maybe it won't though. Okay. Woo! This hammer is starting to smell. That is a very awkward thing to say. But there is some electrical tape on the handle of this guy, and it's starting to get warm. And I can smell it. All right, I think that actually worked relatively well. You can kind of see where we've created a little bit of a crease. So maybe if I can get slightly thicker cross-beam, might work a little better. I don't know. Let's see. What do I got? That is a very loud. It was a truck, and it was pretty loud. The muffler was not doing a very good job. Maybe I will just use this one. It's a little bit on the wider side, but it is skinnier than my regular crossbeam. So this is going to be a little bit on the slow side for a while. We should be able to get some good progress in when we start using the chisels and stuff to decorate. But I think this initial like neck and head is going to be a little bit slow to begin with. I think what I want to do next, honestly though, is I need to look at a horse's belly. You know what? It helps when you put the O in the word horse when you Google search it, guys. Okay, there's some good horse pictures. So, hopefully, having a reference is going to make this a little bit nicer and easier. Maybe not, I don't know, we'll see. Okay, do we got enough heat? I think we do. Let's try it. We'll do one more heat with this view, and then we'll do another view. Put that over there for the moment. There, like so. Starting there. We're getting it. Okay. Whoops. We've got a neck kind of started right there, so we're going to be able to bend that upwards a little bit because we want the head to kind of be up a little bit. So I think we've got a nice neck looking there. And I think we're still doing all right. Trust the process. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. Yeah, you don't want any hearse pictures for your animal. Exactly. I spelled it HRSE. I like completely skipped the O for whatever reason. Not entirely sure why, but you know, things work sometimes. I think my fingers weren't moving right. I don't know. So, let's see. Oh, I've been working on some seed starters, and last week, I think it was Thursday, it was really windy outside, and so the wind picked up my seed starters and dumped them upside down onto the sidewalk. And I was rather disappointed. I cleaned it up as best I could by using a piece of sheet steel, kind of sliding it under the whole thing and flipping it back up. So most of the dirt actually stayed in it, but I'm not sure if I moved any of the seeds and where the seeds are, or if there still are seeds in it, right? So because of that, and because I still want to have a garden this year, I started a whole new tray, right? So there's these little peat moss. They look like, I don't know, little like quarter size things. I don't know what a quarter equivalent in a euro is, but like a US quarter. So about yay big around. And so I put the seeds in there, and every time I pass the counter that they're sitting on, I look at them and they look like little 2-bite brownies that you buy at the grocery store. They're like this big around, and they're brownies, and I just want to pick them up and pop them in my mouth. But you know what? It's dirt. I could only imagine what it would be like if I actually gave into my dark impulse and popped one of the little dirts in my mouth. But I keep looking at them. I look over the counter and stuff, and it's making it really difficult, right? Because I have very limited counter space in my kitchen. And it's kind of like both of the two starters are kind of they're spread out over my counter, and it's preventing me from using that counter to cook food, right? So every time I go to cook food, I'm looking at these starters, and it makes it worse every time, you know, because like I said, they just look like 2-bite brownies. I just want to eat them. All right, let's do another heat. Oh, I said that I was going to change the view, didn't I? One of these days, you know, I might eat it, and then I will come back to you and I will tell you what it was like eating the dirt. And then you guys can laugh at me. It'll be fun. I think that it won't be as bad though when the seeds start sprouting. But they've only been in there for about a week. And the butler says that I need to wait for them, or I mean I need to put them outside so they get sunlight. So we haven't done that yet. We need some real sunlight. All right. I'm going to try and move the neck a little bit backwards. Okay. So I think that's going to work a little bit better. Hold that like so, maybe. Maybe not. Okay. How are we doing? I don't know. Maybe we're doing fine, maybe we're not. Well, it's definitely got a neck now. All right. So let's put this in the heat. We're going to try and trust the process. We're going to try and trust the process. Because I don't know. I don't know that I am trusting the process myself. So yeah, I think I need to turn it sideways and start working on that sideways profile just a little bit more. I want to make sure that we get a nice like separation between a jaw and a muzzle for this horse. We will probably start working on the muzzle of the horse relatively quickly as well. And I will be using a ball peen to kind of get that like weird rounded jaw that horses have. All I gotta say is these animals are a little bit difficult. I think that maybe I need to watch some videos or ask some questions for some people or to some people that know that do this often. See if I can find something else. Hey, Blue Red Metal, welcome to the stream. Find some advice, you know. So hopefully I can come up with a little bit better animals in the future. But I think that we've had a pretty decent exploration during the time that we've had. Am I based in New York City? I am not. I am about an hour from St. Louis, Missouri, on the Illinois side. So, yeah, I'm quite a ways away from New York City. All right, let's do another heat. I'm going to see what I can do here. Why did I think that? I honestly, I don't know. I don't know. All right, we want to do a little bit of sideways. And a little bit of this sideways. And okay, so now we kind of have to work on the face a little bit. So I need to find a way to bend that down, like that end, and push it out a little bit. I also want to work on the back. So I don't know, maybe I'll work on the back next. I need to, so horses have kind of a thinner back than their bellies. So I might need to do a little bit of that as well. We'll get there, slowly but surely, but we will get there. And I think we're gonna go up again on the view. Just so I can get a little bit of variety. In my shots. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do live near a somewhat larger city, but honestly, all in all, St. Louis is a podunk town in comparison to New York City. Even Chicago and LA, you know, St. Louis is I think we are the 16th largest city in the United States. So we're pretty far down on the big city list. So I don't know. I don't know why. I do know, I think that Knott's hubby lives in New York, but I don't think they live in New York City, right? I think they live somewhere in that state, but I don't, you know, so maybe they were talking about that. So yeah, I have been talking about going to Indiana, and I've been talking about going to Tennessee and Missouri, and I think we're also going to be going to Oklahoma this year, maybe, because I believe the Urbana conference is in Oklahoma this year. Don't quote me on that. I'm probably very mistaken, to be quite honest. I'll have to look that up. I know that I want to go to Oklahoma, or I mean to the Urbana conference, and when I looked it up, it was only about 5 hours away from here. So about the same amount or the same distance as Ohio. And we're also going to Ohio this year. So I don't know. We shall see how well that goes, to be honest. Stuff may be shifting rapidly as time goes on this year on those sorts of plans, but I'm going to do my very best to get to the conferences and I am still planning on going as of right now. So, let's see. Yeah, so it's been really interesting using my cross pins as a tool, right? So what I've been doing is using the cross peen, and instead of hammering with the cross peen, I've been hammering my rounded head to the rounded head. And this is so that I get a very precise hammer blow, and I have a precisely, or I know precisely where that movement is going to come in. So it's actually very convenient. It's been working pretty darn well. I went to Indiana once by accident, driving south on I-90 South Chicago, and missed the exit. Wound up in Indiana. See, I did the opposite, right? I was trying to get to Chicago from I think I was on 40, and I ended up in Wisconsin. So that's, I mean, I feel like that's a little bit easy to do, right? You know, because it's Chicago and then Wisconsin, it's pretty close, right? It's just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Once this ad break is over, we will do another heat. I think we're going to focus in on trying to thin out the back a little bit. A little bit. I've got some, I want to keep the hips out and wide, but I want to bring in the, like, where the torso and the hips meet. So we'll see if I'm able to do that with just regular hammer blows. Alrighty, let's do another heat. We're going to work a little bit on the back where the torso meets the hips. And I'm hoping that I can do it well enough. Okay, we'll start this direction because I think it's going to be a little bit easier. Angle blows towards this back. I don't want to... Okay, and then we'll probably do this a little bit. Made a little bit of progress. You can kind of see a little bit there. And I think I want to use another tool. We'll see. Slowly shaping things. So yeah, I was going up to Chicago, and I think, like I said, I think I was using I-40, and because I was going from like where we live to Chicago, and it used, like, I usually use 50 when I'm going towards my parents' house, but my parents' house is on the opposite side of Illinois, right? So Chicago is here, my parents' house is here. Wait, that's backwards. Here and here, because it would be like this for me, but this for you guys. Yeah. Anyway, so in order to get to my parents' house, we use 50 to 74, right? Well, to get to Chicago straight up, maybe it's 40 or 50. Maybe it is 50. Or 55. Anyway, I went straight towards Chicago and I passed it by accident and ended up in Wisconsin. And I think we drove in just about a half an hour into Wisconsin before we figured out what had happened. So, yeah, I totally understand the ending up in Indiana by accident. Chicago highways are really confusing. I don't know if that is because, like, we've just made our infrastructure, like, stupid, or if that's just the way it is everywhere. But yeah. So we're continuing to kind of work on our horse and to kind of try and figure out how to shape it. And I'm learning a little bit from the other two pieces, and I hope I'm doing a little bit better, but maybe not. I don't know. I haven't kind of figured it out quite yet how we're going to go about this. I'm thinking that maybe eventually I will want to use my curved chisel on the back legs to kind of separate them from the guts. But I don't know. I don't know. Let's do another heat. Okay. I don't know that that's going to work for me. Trying to figure things out slowly but surely. I don't think that quite did what I wanted it to. All right. So I think I want to work on the guts next. So like the stomach. So we'll figure that one out next, I think. Or maybe we'll just do the head. Maybe I should just work on the head. I gotta stop being indecisive, guys. I gotta stop being indecisive. Yeah, I think what I need to do is I need to work on the head. And because I think the head is where we're going to get what the animal is going to be. I think that's what's going to make it shape up. So I think we're going to make kind of an upset corner a little bit for the back of the head. Kind of like we did for the dog head a little bit. And so I think the horse head is going to be a little bit on the smaller side, maybe. We shall see. Apologies. So I had a plan for how I wanted to go about doing this project. And as we have been working throughout today, I've realized that a few things that I thought were going to work and thought were true are not, right? So it's not shaping up quite the way I expected it to. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that we're learning things. And so I'm having to kind of improvise. And improvisation is a strong suit of mine, but it also takes a little bit of extra bandwidth as far as my brain is concerned. And, I'm kind of problem solving in real time. So I hope you're interested because I don't know. I find it fun problem solving, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Okay. Let's do another heat. Okay. I think I need to work on the head, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to work on the head. I need to make this a little bit smaller right in this area right here, all the way around, I think. So we've got a way to kind of move the head downwards. So we're starting to get a head separated from that neck, and that's exactly what I want to see. Okay. All right, so we're going to heat that back up. We've made some progress I'm pretty happy with, especially because this kind of looks like a horse that has started running. And so horses, when they run, they kind of stretch out their necks really far. So I think we're getting it. I think it's starting. We're coming. Adapting to changing conditions is part of the fun. See, I think so too. I think changing and adapting is one of the best parts of blacksmithing, right? Because and metalworking in general, right? When you're woodworking, when you make a cut, it's like you can't lengthen that piece. I mean, you could, if you cut it too long, you could cut off more. But if you cut it too short, you kind of just have to start from scratch, right? Well, metal, if I cut it too short, I can lengthen it. I can just heat it up and draw it out a little bit further. It might be a little thinner, but it'll be as long as I need it to be. And it's kind of a very zen process, like working through the problems and kind of figuring out as we go what the next step is going to be, what the next problem is going to be. So we're making it happen. It's just going to be a little bit on the slower side. And oh wait, you know what? See, there's another problem that I needed to solve. I forgot to change my camera views. So yeah, we're adapting, we're learning, we're growing. And I think this is actually turning out better than I anticipated, to be quite honest. Eventually, I am going to start taking the corners off of everything. Right now, we have a very straight sides. They do indent and go in and out a little bit, but we have these corners that go along the entire piece. And I do want to round everything out just a hair because I think that the corners are, I want it to be a little bit more organic. And right now it just seems very squared off. So we'll get there. We'll get there. All right. Okay. Let's do another heat. And the heats are progressing relatively quickly because as the pieces are starting to get really small, they are heating a lot easier and a lot faster. All right. So we've got a head going right there. So I need to put a line in there right underneath of its chin to kind of denote the roundness there. And we'll kind of create a little bit more roundness. But we're probably going to use a chisel like this one, like that, for our next heat to kind of denote where that's going to be. I think we're starting to get it. I do need to start working on the tail at some point, widen that out a little bit, cut off the extra length. Because right now I kind of have like a long lizard tail, and I want more of a bushy tail. So we'll see how that works. We'll turn it around once I'm happy with the head a little bit. I got a hole in my lip. Have you made a cat? I have not made a cat yet. Cats look are there's a design of cat that I really want to try. It is an angle iron cat, and that's made with a piece of angle iron. And I do have some angle iron that we can do, but for these animals, I kind of wanted to start with square bar. So in the future, we'll do another set of animals, and I think I want to do a cat. And because I own a cat, my cat is my child. I love my cat. I wanted to try and kind of figure out a way that I could turn the square bar into a cat, but I just couldn't come up with a good way to do it without doing a lot of upsetting. And I didn't want to spend all my time upsetting this time. Correction, the cat owns me. I guess you're right. The cat does own me. I am but a humble servant to my liege, Tungsten, the cat. Ray, you do not own a cat. The cat owns you. Well, you know, you're right. You're right. The people have spoken. I do not own the cat. The cat owns me. All right, I am going to put the jaw in on this horse. At least I hope I am. I think I am. It's one of those things, you know, where I think I'm going to do something and maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. Whew, man, this is hot. I am pretty sure that at one point, okay, so we have made a nice denotation of where that's going to be. And I do want to kind of fold that down a little bit for our next heat, but we definitely have a nice area where the end of that, or like the separation of the head and the neck. So I'm pretty happy with that. That kind of looks like a greyhound preform. I mean, kinda. But I mean, race horses and greyhounds kind of can look similar-ish in the fact that they both have 4 legs, and when they're running, they kind of have the same sort of stride, right? Right? I don't know. I do my best, guys. I do my best. Oh, I am out of water this time. I will need to grab another glass, or another liquid. Give me just 1 second. I will be right back. Yeah. Man, it's starting to get warmer in here. Like, not even in the shop itself. Like, outside. So it started relatively, like, cool and stuff. But I think it's getting warmer in general. I do have both the garage door, this side door, and the window open. So I've got some cross draft. But I mean, I'm starting to think that by Monday, I might have to start putting on the industrial fan. Alrighty. Let's do another heat. I think I'm going to do one more heat with this angle, and then we'll do another angle. Okay. I want to kind of give ourselves, like, bend this down a little bit further, but I'm having a little bit of issue here. Well, that worked a little bit. Okay. Use the legs for leverage. I was afraid I was going to screw up the legs, right? Okay, so that's good. Now I want to bend the neck up a little bit. So yeah, we will probably use the cross peen again to kind of go into that neck area like so. And we will eventually start bending that upward. I want to fix the neck. It's a little bit fat closer towards the head. All right, let's do another angle. I wanna, what's a good angle gonna be for this? Probably this direction. That way you'll be able to see from the side what I'm up to. That should work. I haven't been doing that side angle as often. Okay. So we'll put this guy away, and then we'll grab this guy again. Stick that right there. Like I said, I kind of want to, for the next heat, what we're going to do is we are going to thin out the neck near the head, right? It's a very square block of material that's kind of as wide near the shoulders as it is near the head. And so I want to change that a little bit. I still have to separate the legs too. I think I'll leave the separating of the legs for one of the last steps, because if I leave it blocky like this, I might be able to do a stylization, and I don't know that I want to move the legs out just yet. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's try another heat. Whoops, wrong way around. There we go. That's a little bit better. Come on the back. And we dropped it, but that's all right. Okay. So I feel like that's a little bit better overall. At least it is on this side. This side specifically. This side, it looks a little bit awkward, but I think it's all right. Okay. So we're going to start working on that head again. We've worked on the neck for a little bit. Now we're going to work on the head. Drop forge. Yep. We are dropping things. All right. So we're at the hour and a half mark. So we've got a whole hour left in the stream. I think we can make some pretty good progress in that hour. I think we've made quite a bit of progress since we started today. We really had like a block, just a block for the head, and we finally started shaping. We've got a defined neck and a defined head. So we are doing well. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I do eventually want to carve in ears. And I think what I want to do for that is when we were doing the dog, I kind of carved the ears from the back of the head. For this, I kind of want to carve them from the front, you know, have the ears like so. And that's kind of a horse thing. Normally when they run though, they have their ears back like so, but I think in this case we might go a little bit up like this. We can also get a octagonal form on the muzzle in that way, so hopefully it'll work the way I think it will. If not, I don't know. We'll figure something out. I've got an ad that's going to be starting in about 3 minutes. I should be able to get another heat in before that ad, so let's do that. Let's do that. We're going to be working on the edge of the anvil, I think. Maybe that worked. I don't know. It worked a little bit. This side better than this side. But yeah, I think we can keep on keeping on and it'll be all right. I think it's starting to look a little bit more like a horse. So yeah, we'll do another heat eventually, or next we'll work on that muzzle. I know that was a really quick heat, but we're kind of working on some really delicate stuff, and it's starting to get really, really cold fast. So I want to make sure that we keep things very, very hot so that we can maintain the amount, or so we can move it really easily, is what I'm trying to say. The hotter you keep the steel, the faster and easier it's going to move. Keep on keeping on. Loving it. Thank you. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the support. I get to these points where I do things that I have no experience with. And so then I get to the problem solving part where I'm really, really focusing in on fixing problems and addressing issues and continuing the work. And I get a little bit nervous about it. I think we're doing all right, though. I think we're doing all right. We're looking like a horse. And I think anyway. So I want to kind of pinch in the back of the neck eventually, and kind of create like a mane. And I think that would be a lot easier if I was making this horse in glass, because then I just have like a little pinching tool. You know, glass, it's just a little bit, you know, more fluid. Metal, I have to be a little bit more careful with it. It takes a little bit more effort to move my material. All right. So once this ad is over, we will do our next heat. I think I'm going to move the camera just because we're going to be on an ad, and that's going to, you know, that reminds me that I should probably change my camera angle. It also means that I have a chance to think about things a little bit. What I'm going to be doing, where I'm going to be at. I think I want to move this a little bit further back so I can show the horn a little bit easier. So I might be using the horn a little bit. There we go. Part of me's like, I don't know what I want to be doing with this camera or with this piece, so I don't know where I need to put the camera. But you know what? Eventually we'll get it. Oh, our forge pressure is going down a little bit, so we got to raise it up. As we continue working with the forge, the propane tank starts to dwindle down, and so as it goes, it starts to lose pressure, and I got to turn it up. Turn up the heat. Turn up the heat. Let's see. I'm going to use this guy, I think, because we're going to work on the head a little bit some more. One more heat on the muzzle. So let's do this. Oh, somehow I moved the camera. Here, let me put that there while I change the angle, because for whatever reason I must have like kicked it or something. There we go. That's better. Much more better. Okay, let's do this. All right, that's better. We've got that weird muzzle thing that all horses seem to have. All right, more heat. So we're starting to look more like a horse, I think. Probably. Maybe. Maybe, guys, maybe. So like I said, I kind of need to work on a mane and rounding out some of the places. I need to separate the legs. I need to cut some of the tail off and spread out the tail a little bit. Let's see, what else could I do? Lots of stuff. We're getting there. We're getting there. You got to keep everything nice and hot, though. Okay. I'm thinking about how I want to go about creating a mane, right? So an angle would be ideal, like an angle on the back of the neck. So if I hammer at an angle, it might work. I don't know. Maybe it won't. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try it. Kind of want to smooth out the neck. We've made some progress there, but I kind of want to smooth it out. Slowly but surely. Okay. I need to move the neck further back. Next. I know I'm new, but this is probably my first, this is probably my first message, but have welding stuff I work on, so lurk. Welcome. Yeah, I believe, yes, I do have a lurk command. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, hang out, take a look. I'm, blacksmithing, and I do a little bit of fabrication here and there. I was just talking about doing a fabrication project for one of the next 3 that we're going to do. I want to make a guillotine tool, and that's basically a frame where you can put 2 dies in, and it sits in the square hole of my anvil, and you can put 2 dies that are interchangeable in there, and you put your steel in there and hammer on the top die, and it kind of creates, it could create patterns, it could create fullering, but yeah, or, you could cut things with it. So it'll be a fun project. It'll definitely be a useful tool. Definitely be a useful tool. It's one of those things that a lot of people will buy, and I don't know that I necessarily want to buy it. Ray's making a guillotine. Better or beware butler, right? Although I already have a guillotine. I have a guillotine shear, and it's in there. So it is a 500-pound piece of equipment that it cuts sheet metal in straight lines. It also has a roller at the top, so you can roll like sheet or stock, like square or round stock, into rings. And it also has a bending function, right? So you can bend 90-degree angles into sheet steel. And I bought that for my silversmithing. It's a great tool. But yeah, it is a guillotine shear, is its primary purpose. And back when I named my tools, that one was, the name of that tool is Marie, haha, Marie. It does not have an English wheel. It is a roller. So it's got 3 bars, and it just like rolls either sheet or coils in bar. So I don't have an English wheel. That is something that I would love to have. An English wheel is a flattening tool. It's got 2 wheels that kind of sit on one on top of the other, and you can kind of put sheet metal in between it, and it will take out lumps and bumps and flatten everything out. Another really great tool for silversmithing, specifically armor making, sometimes bowl making. So I'm going to look at this a little bit. And I want to do this a little bit because we've got a little bit of a bump on that end there. Okay, now that we've got a little bit of cool air going, I think I'm going to try and push that backwards a little bit. And it didn't work the way I wanted it to, but I think it'll be all right. We're starting to look like a horse now. I think I'm pretty happy with that head. So I don't know, maybe we'll turn her around a little bit. Start working on the back end. So I'm probably going to take the tail, like lop off about half of that. So yeah. And I do need to separate these legs a little bit. So we're going to turn this around for the moment. Play in the Mud, welcome to the stream. Hello, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in. Welcome, Raiders. How was earthbending today? Yes, earthbending. That's what pottery is. Playing with water and mud and, earth. Thank you so much for joining me. Hi, my name is Ray. I am a blacksmith. Today we are working on making a animal sculpture. This time I'm trying to make a horse. And I've only ever made, this is my third animal. So we started by making a lizard. And this is the lizard right here. It's kind of very squared off, but I think he's kind of cute. I can kind of turn on the close-up cam so you guys can kind of see him a little bit easier. So yeah, he's got a nice fat belly, and he's got a little curly tail, and he's got 4 legs and eyes and a mouth. So he's kind of a cute little lizard. He was my very first attempt at an animal. This is my second attempt. I turned this into a bottle opener, but I wanted it to be a dog head. So I think that the neck is a little bit long, so I think it looks more like a llama or something. So this is my attempt at making a third animal, and we're trying to make a horse. So I want to make a little bit more movement and life to this particular horse. I've got a lot of corners right now. I want to take some of those off. But the first thing that I got to do, I drew out the tail really, really long. So I kind of want to cut off a little section of it so that I don't have to deal with the little skinny section. So I'm going to grab my cutoff tool, if I can find it, that is, in my giant disaster that is underneath of my, oh, there it is, underneath of my vise. So this is my cutoff tool. It hides in my hardy hole like so. Woohoo, the butler just got home. And I'm going to change the angle on this camera so you guys can see the hardy tool real nice. It's nice and centered in that view. Okay. And like I said, we are going to cut off a little bit of the extra of the tail. All right. Let's see if I can do this. I think it'll be all right there. Yeah. I keep accidentally kicking my tripod for the close-up cam, so it's not working as close as I want it to be. Okay, so we're going to cut off about half of this tail like so. It helps when you've got a good grip on the piece that you're trying to cut, guys. It helps when you've got a good grip on your piece. Okay. Let me grab this so I can kind of bend that off of there, like so. And now we've got like a much smaller tail, and that looks a little bit more like a horse tail and less like a lizard tail. All right. I have a hardy tool. Do I not have a, or do I have a laurel tool? I don't have a laurel tool. I do not have a laurel tool. So we can't make as many jokes about the Laurel and Hardy show. But yes, I do get that joke. I never watched the Laurel and Hardy show, but I remember hearing about it from my grandparents. Cool that down just so that it doesn't like burn anything. And we'll stick it over there. Now, we need to put this back in the forge. Okay, so this can go over there. Cool. So now what I want to do is I want to kind of give myself a point on the end of that tail. I also want to kind of gather the tail close to the rear end of the horse. So that way it kind of creates like a ponytail bushel, I guess. At least you know one of the greatest comedic duos of all time. That went over my head, and I love Hardy and Laurel. Yes, the square hole in an anvil is called a Hardy hole. The round hole on an anvil is called a Pritchel hole. Both of them are used for tooling as well as other purposes. You know, when you are punching a hole in a piece of steel, you want to use the Pritchel hole so that you can get the plug out from under there. But yeah. Well, I know you know, Bluesy. You've been around for a little bit. You've been around the block a couple times. But we have a whole new group of folks that joined us from Play in the Mud, you know? Got to make sure everybody knows. All right, so now we're gonna move the camera a little bit so that the Hardy isn't fully centered. That way everybody can see everything. You've been around, you're ancient. You're just 26. See, I would say that I've been around, you know? Really all I mean by when I say you've been around is that you have been watching the stream for a while, you know? Okay, 50 years of experience, but hey, reverse those numbers. Something like that. Something like that. All right, so like I said, what I want to do is kind of shape this tail a little bit. So I think I actually want to use this guy again, because we're kind of going to fuller the tail close to its butt, because I want to make sure that it kind of gathers, you know? Kind of gathers around there. Turn the horse this way a little bit. All right, so now we've got some fullering in there. I want to go for this edge right here first as our last ditch effort on this particular heat. So we're going to keep on keeping on with that. Like I said, I want to gather the back end of this so that it kind of looks closer to a horsetail, a ponytail. So we've got a nice beginning to that. So I think we should be able to use the edge of the anvil for the rest of it. $76, $67, whatever. And age is just a number. It's only how old you feel, right? It's just how you feel. See, I'm going to turn 40 this year. And yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. It's one of those things where it's like, when I was a kid, I thought 40 was so old. And I just couldn't imagine what it would be like to be 40. And now that I'm here, I feel like, no, I'm not around kids much. I'm not around kids. I live in I'm an agoraphobe pretty much. Like, I live in my house and I edit things. I come out here, I do blacksmithing. I go to the grocery store. But yeah, I don't hang around kids a lot. But yeah, I just don't feel like 40 is all that old anymore now that I'm almost here, you know? I still have plenty of life ahead of me and plenty of things to look forward to. I am doing some really fun things with life, and I don't know, I feel like I'm just getting started, you know? I feel like it's ancient still, right? Yeah. That's all right. I will turn 40 before you do, so. All right, let's do another heat. But hey, you're older than me. Yep, I am older than you. But you know what? The butler turned 40 last year. Trying to make that work a little bit, but I think I'm messing with these back legs a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit slow going at first, but we'll get there. Like I said, I want to gather the back end there a little bit, and then we will also put a little tip on the end of the tail. Maybe by only a few days, but you're still older. I am older than you. I will admit it. I will own it. People are so childish nowadays, so they seem younger. I don't know. Like, honestly, I don't know. I hope you don't give the butler too much crap. You know what they say about payback. I know, right? If I give too much crap to the butler about being 40, the butler's going to give me crap right back. I was talking with my group earlier, and I said I hadn't talked to someone in 26 years, and 2 of them said that is longer than they've been alive. I felt so old. I imagine that you meant someone specific, like you haven't talked to a specific person for 26 years. KMD Artisan, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. Life starts at 40, going downhill quite rapidly. I don't know. Like I said, I don't feel like I'm all that old, and I have a lot going for me right now. You know, I feel like I'm doing more than I have ever done before. So, and I feel great. Aside from my chronic illness, I feel great, you know? As long as I am taking that into consideration, you know? Yes, a specific person, someone from school. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Oh, wow. You know what? You know what? So, let's see. 2004. That was what? 22 years ago? Yeah. It's been 22 years since I was in high school. That's crazy. My wife gave me so much crap when I turned 40. A few years later, we went out to dinner for her 40th, and it was at a restaurant. Oh, the birthday song thing. I snuck a cowbell in and started playing along to the song. Oh, that is so great. That is so great. I won't lie, I would totally have stood up and walked out of the restaurant. Yeah, I would have just walked out of the restaurant. Heary, those of you who are going to be physically around me when I turn 40. If you do that stuff, I will just walk out. Yeah. Okay. I think I want to go over here for this. I'm going to heat this back up again. We're going to put that point on there. I don't think about graduating 22 years ago. That's how long I've known you too, though. Yeah, it is. Yes. I've known Shelly for 22 years. That's a long time. We need more cowbell. Yes. Always. You can never have enough cowbell. My kids have built up plenty of opportunities for me to embarrass them if I choose to, right? You got to be careful when it comes to parents and kids, because when you live with somebody, they got lots of blackmail material on you. Be nice. So I got an ad starting in about 2 minutes. So once that ad's done, we'll do our next heat. Like I said, we are going to try and put a point on the end of the tail. Then we're going to start working a little bit more on the body, like the torso of this horse. We're probably going to go a little bit later today. Even though the butler is already home and waiting for me, I think the butler could wait longer. I can just be the cool dad when their friends come over, right? Yeah, exactly. The cool dad. My kids don't do that. I only have 73 running around at the moment. Only 73. So is that a really productive spring, or is that like down? I mean, I know that you have like 600 goats. How is that a big crop or a little crop? It's down. Okay. It seemed a little bit low for 600 goats. The horse torso. Is that a horse? Maybe it could be a horso. Oh, you're only at 300 now, not 600. Okay. All right, so it's a little less low if you only have half of the amount. Alrighty, so the ad is going to be starting any minute now. And like I said, I'll probably go a little bit longer today just so that we can get a little bit closer to finishing this horse. Like I said, I want to work on the torso a little bit. I am starting to kind of round things out just a hair. I have to decide though if I want to continue to round them out. If I do, then I will probably want to cut the legs apart. But if I leave it relatively square, I don't necessarily think that cutting apart the legs is going to be as productive, I guess. Dairy goats or meat goats? Is it goat meat called mutton, or is that sheep meat? I'm pretty sure that Bluesy's goats are dairy goats, though. Bluesy always talks about milking them. Goat's milk and cheese. Oh, that is sheep. Okay. I wasn't sure, right? I thought meat goats were gluten. Glutton. Sheep. I like nice mutton, lettuce, and tomatoes. I don't actually eat all that much sheep. I think the only sheep that I really eat is the meat in a gyro. We have like a Greek restaurant that we occasionally get gyros from for lunch, and they use sheep meat. Yeah, I would get rid of a goat that gored me too. Goodness. Farming is so dangerous, especially with animals. Animals are so unpredictable. If they get really, in a bad mood, they'll just attack you. All right. The cattle industry in the West drove out a lot of sheep farmers, and unfortunately, this country still doesn't have a lot of sheep farms. That's very true. The most dangerous thing on my farm are the silos. Silos are so dangerous, especially if you fall in one. Ooh, that's scary. I had a goat for the first time when one of the doctors that my wife works for had a big dinner for all the nurses. It was pretty good. Indian food. Ooh, that sounds really good. It's been a really long time since I've had some good Indian food. Most of the good Indian food, though, in the area is in the city. So I have to really want it in order to go into the city for it, you know? I don't know. That looks a little bit awkward. So maybe we'll widen it out a little. Like so. I don't know. That might work. That might not work. Let's grab a cross peen and do a little bit of hammering this way. I don't know. I don't know if I like that or not. I don't know if I like that or not. Well, it's kind of long again. Dogtail on this horse. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Okay. So I think the next thing I want to do is kind of work on the body a little bit. Kind of work on the body. So we're just going to hammer straight on there. I want to widen it out a little. Going to leave the tail as is for the moment. A dorse is a dorse, of course. A dorse. A dog horse. I kind of feel like maybe it looks like a dog horse. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like in the end. Pull up a pic of a Greyhound bus logo. You're pretty close. I'm pretty sure I am. I've seen it before. The Greyhound bus logo. Let's do this. Greyhound. Yeah, if I could spell it right, you know. Images. Yeah, I'm not that far off. Ooh, you know what? Control V. Um, it's just the first picture I saw of a bus. It's a Google search, I think. Yeah, I think that yeah. A Greyhound. I need to move. There we go. We're back to where I can actually see things. Greyhound bus. So we have a horse track that is in a couple towns over, and there is like an old folks home like down the road from us. So I am constantly seeing Greyhound buses going from the racetrack to the old folks home. So we see Greyhounds all the time around here. Old folks, they like horse racing and gambling. I would too, though. If I had nothing better to do. Watching horses sounds like fun. Whoa, what did I just... Okay, it was a giant piece of scale is what that was. Yeah, we're getting rid of a lot of scale on there. Okay. You know, you're right. It kind of looks more like a dog than it does a horse. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think it's the tail. I really think it's the tail. I don't know. All right, I think I actually want to separate the legs, maybe. Or no. Do I want to use the... to give ourselves a little bit of separation like so? Like there? This is a curved chisel. Do I want to do this? That might work. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to do next. Maybe I should cut the legs apart. That's what I should do. I should cut the legs apart. So I need to move the camera so that you guys can see me do that. 1. Okay. OM Jeepus, guys. OM Jeepus. Let's move this over here so we can see the piece. Let's put us in focus so that we can actually see what's going on. Then let's see if I've got an angle grinder that I can use. Well, that's kind of okay. I think we're all right. Cool. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna cut this apart. But first things first. Breathing protection. Man, the other day when I separated the lizard legs, I did not put this on, and I was blowing black boogers for the next 3 days. I do not want to do that again. Whew. That's real warm. That's real warm. Ow. I just hit the horn of the anvil. There we go. Much more better. Okay, cool. Dude, that is always the best when I accidentally hip check. It's not too far. I mean, it's far enough that the sparks aren't gonna mess with it. And I blocked most of them with my body. It's alright. We did it. All my cameras have filters on them so that I don't mess them up the lenses. Okay. So now we have cuts in the legs. We can kind of separate them just a little bit. So I think I'm going to kind of create a pose on this thing, and then we'll see what happens after that. It looked a bit as if my display was about to catch on fire. Apologies. I'm sorry if it was too close. But yeah, we're still good. Nothing crazy happening to the lens. I was trying to be as careful as possible about shooting sparks at it. I was a lot less careful about shooting sparks at myself. But that's also because I have a leather apron on. Ooh, I have a story for you guys. So one time I was cutting some plate. It looks spectacular, so good content. Awesome. I'm glad. You know, you need some like 3D glasses, right? You know, sparks just shooting right at you. So when I was doing some cutting on some plate, like the 1/2-inch plate that we're going to be doing a little bit of cutting on. And what I accidentally did is I burned a hole in my apron, and it was kind of like a little edge area, because my apron was kind of like twerked to the side, and I burned a hole in my shirt. I cooked a sweatshirt doing that. Good thing you have an apron. Yes, I did that. I cooked my shirt one time. I have not done that while I've been streaming, because I try to be very, very careful and conscious about where the sparks are going and where my safety equipment is when I am streaming, because, you know, you don't want to show you doing boneheaded things while you're streaming, you know? But yes, I have cooked a shirt with an angle grinder. All right, it's going to take us a little bit of time to get the legs nice and hot so that we can start shaping them and moving them where we need to go with them. So I kind of want them to be a little bit offset so that they're not in the same pose, and we got like 4 legs moving. I don't know why I still have this here, but I have a sheet of mirrored stainless steel that, like, normally it leans up against my kiln over there, and I accidentally knocked it over when I was moving around. I ruined an Under Armour hoodie with an angle grinder while I was making my straight peen cross peen hammer and not noticing the warm feeling happening around my stomach. Yes, that is like, I also cooked one of my aprons right here. Um, it got really, really hard. It didn't go through it, so I didn't like ruin my shirt that time, but it was really crunchy. It did not move right after that. It did not move right after that. Okay, let's see about doing another heat. Like I said, I kind of want to spend a little bit of time posing it. It looks like I'm not going to get much of a chance to kind of round this guy out, but I think that's going to be all right. I'm not too upset by that. Okay, so if I do it this way, I can kind of move that one like so. And then I can kind of move this one further back, right? Got to be a little bit careful because these ankles are a little bit on the skinny side, and I want to make sure that I don't snap the legs. So I need to get this hot again so I don't snap those off. But we're starting to get there. I don't know. It's kind of like a horse dog thing, maybe. Something. Whoops, I totally missed. I have a garbage over there, and I was trying to like throw that away in the garbage, and I completely missed. That's better. Alrighty. Whew. I got my arms a little bit with the angle grinder. It's not like I burn myself. It's just that when because there is always, like, in the sparks, there's pieces of the disc, and there's also little shards of metal, and they get flung with the sparks. And so sometimes they hit you at the wrong angle, and then it just starts itching. Gotta be a little careful. Okay. I'm going to use this to, let's do another heat. Spend some time separating this legs, at least the back legs. We're going to do the front legs next. Okay. So I want to do maybe not. I don't know if this will work. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It does not want to work is what it doesn't want to do. All right, so we're going to heat it up again. It's going to take me a little bit of time to deal with this. All right. Couple more heats on that back leg set, and then we'll do some heats on the front leg set. I want to make like a straight leg, or maybe like a more forward leg. But yeah, we'll get there. So, I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. If you guys want to, I was planning on making my guillotine tool this weekend, and you guys said that you wanted me to stream that, so we're going to stream that, but I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend now. That was my plan, and now I don't know. So I'll probably run all of these animals through the wire wheel, but that's only going to take me like 30 minutes. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just like relax and have some fun. Ooh, that would be scandalous, right? Gotta always be working. Sleep is what you will do this week. Probably. I definitely will sleep this weekend. What? Did you get your couch for the van? I did. It was not in the little tiny box. The little tiny box was a Cardinals baseball calendar for a commercial shoot that the butler was doing today. And the couch came yesterday. It came in a box that was probably about yay tall. And the back end of the couch was inside the seat, along with all of the legs and stuff. It was really interesting how it was packed. It was kind of weird. So that is some sports team, I guess. Yes, it's a baseball team. The Cardinals baseball team. They are the St. Louis Cardinals, or the Redbirds. Redbirds. That's the team that everybody roots for here. Okay, so let's do a little bit of this. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. That's a little bit better. They're a little bit more separated. Okay, so let's turn this around and do the front legs. I think the tail needs to come down a bit. That's probably why it looks more like a dog than a horse, is because it's so high up. Yeah, here in the United States, the sports of choice are basketball, American football, and baseball. Here in St. Louis, we do have a football team, like a soccer team. We call it soccer. You guys call it football. We do actually have a football team. We do not have an American football team anymore. Our American football team got bought and sent to, what was it? Was it Arizona or was it LA? We used to have the Rams, and before that we had the Cardinals. The American football teams do not want to, or they never end up staying here. Both, okay. Here it is soccer, then nothing for a long time, then other sports. Yeah. Oh, yeah, hockey. We also have hockey teams. We have the Blues in St. Louis, so that's the team that we normally root for. Chicago might lose the Bears. Ooh, that's not good. The Bears are, a staple. A staple. All right. Let's do another heat. We are going to be probably finishing up this horse in the next couple of heats. Well, maybe. I don't know for sure, but we're going to try to. I think that actually looks a little bit like backwards. I think that looks a little bit backwards, maybe. Maybe it looks like that. Maybe I need to push that one back a little bit further. I think I do. Let's do that. We're going to turn this direction. We're going to push this leg back a little bit. And then we're going to also try and get the tail down a little bit further. Because the tail is a little bit up. And gravity does not allow tails for horses to go up like that. It could be northwestern Indiana, which is basically suburban Chicago. Yeah, that kind of is pretty close. It's pretty close. I think this one's going to be a little bit more squared off too, it seems. So yeah. I think the reason that we lost our football teams is because the city of St. Louis didn't want to build a new stadium. And so they went somewhere where they could get a new stadium. A square horse. Yes, it's kind of a square horse. The Gray Bears just doesn't sound right. And that's kind of true. The Gray Bears or Gary Bears. Is that where it's at? Like, is that the town or city it's going to be in? Same with the Chiefs, potentially moving to KC to KS. Yeah. Gary, Indiana. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, we're going to do one more heat before this ad starts. We're going to do a couple more heats after the ad too, so it's not going to be the last thing that y'all see from me, but we're working. I want to finish this horse. Finish the horse. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We're doing both at the same time, it looks like. See, look. Now we've got the leg out a little bit further. Now we got to work on the tail. Yeah, that kind of looks like a trot. If Arrowhead Stadium isn't big enough. Man, Arrowhead Stadium is pretty big. I went to see Taylor Swift when she came to Kansas City. I was there on night 1. And yeah, it was huge, the stadium. We had our own entrance because, like, we ended up getting the tickets in the bleachers in front of the box seats. So we ended up going in this like separate entrance from everybody else. And it was a really nice stadium, but it was huge. It was huge. So once this ad is done, we're going to do another heat. We're going to see about moving the tail down a little bit and see if we can't make it look a little bit more like a horse and less like a dog. Oh, I'm out of liquid. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to wrap things up relatively quickly if I don't have any liquid. So I will be doing a couple more heats after this ad break, but not too terribly many because, like I said, I'm out of liquid. And I'm tired and I got to clean up and the butler's waiting for me. But yes, we're going to finish up this horse. We're going to make sure that it's at least finished to a point where I'm relatively happy with it. Yes. So yeah, the ad is going to be starting any minute now. I think I'm going to change the camera angle while we're waiting on the ad just to give myself a little bit of variety. We're going to go down a little bit. Maybe. Probably. There we go. That's better. Mo better. There we go. There we go. There we go. That'll work nicely. Alrighty. Man, the ad hasn't started yet? That's crazy. It didn't get delayed, did it? Oh, there it goes. Right on cue. Right on cue. I'm going to start putting away some of these hammers. I got a lot of them out today. We used them all, though. We used them all. There we go. All right, so once this ad break is over, we're going to do a couple more heats. Kind of make this tail look like more like a horse tail and less like a dog tail. We've got plenty of heat. Plenty of heat. Alrighty. How are we doing on camera? Ooh, we're doing pretty well. Pretty darn well. I was a little bit worried that I didn't notice that we were jittery, but we seem to be doing all right as far as bandwidth. Yay! Alrighty, let's do one of our last few heats. Definitely not our last, but one of the last few. I don't want it to be like, I need... That didn't work the way I wanted it to. Not even a little. Law. Well, this is not big enough. That's not big enough. Well, that did not work at all. Alright, well, I will heat this back up again, and we'll see about doing that. I need to move the leg down a little bit, too, because I made it too wide. The stride is too wide. Hey, Lexi. Welcome to the stream. We are working on making a horse. I've just moved one of the legs too far out, and in an effort to move the tail down. So we're going to have to fix that in the next few heats. That way we don't mess it up too badly. It actually looks like a horse for the most part. I want to keep it that way. I think I'm just going to try to use these guys to move it down. That'll probably be the best way to do it. Goodness. Couple more heats. Okay, let's do this. Just saw your invite to the Instagram. Okay. So this month's challenge for Instagram is something bird related. Whether that's a bird statue or a bird feeder, a bird catcher, something like that. Okay, well, that's not working either. Grr. See about doing it that way. That didn't work either. Heh. Fun. Little bit better, maybe. Maybe that's a little bit better. Maybe I need to like cut it some more too. I don't know. This is what we look like right now. So I don't know. Kind of feel like, ooh, do I have a rip going? I don't know. I'll do a couple more heats to kind of fix that a little bit. The back legs are a little bit awkward. So yeah, maybe sometime later on this month we will do a hummingbird or like a bird. But for the moment, we are going to put up animals after this one and start working on some more tooling. I haven't been up this early in weeks. Well, you deserve to sleep in if you need to, you know? Sleep is good. Oh, I saw your TikTok about your waste oil forge. You'll have to post post your findings about that in the Discord. I would love to see what you've learned. It looked really cool. All right, let's do another heat. If I can get this out of here, that would be amazing. Amazing. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna try and move this leg out and back up a little bit. And this leg, it needs to come up this way as well. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there. I think that's a lot better than it was prior to these last few heats. So we've got this right now. Not too bad. Okay. I'm going to try one more heat just to bring them out just a hair bit more, the legs on this side here. And then we'll probably end the stream because I'm pretty happy with this guy, with what I've got so far. Oh, Ika96, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for that raid. Hello, hello. We are just finishing up a horse sculpture. So I gotta move the legs a little bit just so that I'm happy with it. And then, yeah. Welcome to the stream. Hello, I'm Ray. I am a blacksmith. And yeah, this is my shop. We are, like I said, we are currently working on a horse animal sculpture. And this is the third of my first 3 attempts of making animals. Yeah, I heard it exactly when I pressed the raid button. Yeah, I'm sorry. So you'll just have to join the next raid, you know? It'll be a raid train. I didn't cause this. I see that. I see that, Corwin. You did not wish a new raid would come, so we would go a little bit longer. This isn't your fault. It's curing for a week in a bucket of water. Is it? So what is that for? Curing in a bucket of water. Or maybe you did. I mean, maybe. Corwin is notorious for wishing that raids would come, because usually when raids come, I have a tendency to lengthen out the stream, but we are already almost at the 3-hour mark, which is a half an hour beyond my normal stream time. So I unfortunately cannot lengthen the stream much more than I have currently done. So yeah, unfortunately. But I will be back on Monday for your blacksmithing pleasure. And we are going to be working on some tools. I haven't decided whether we're going to do a chain hold down, a set of wolf jaw tongs, or if we are going to be doing a guillotine, what am I trying to say? Tool. It goes in the hardy hole, the square hole on the anvil, and you put dies in it. Whoops, and I dropped my horse, but that's all right. Roar. So this is it so far. I think I'm pretty happy with it. I think the tail still needs a little bit of loving, and it would be nice if I had a face on it, but I think that we're probably not going to get too terribly much left in this piece. So maybe I will do, I don't know, one more heat to kind of separate the legs. Oh wait, no, I can't do another heat because this one is about to fall off. So I guess this is it. So that's all she wrote for the day. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Hey, Jack. We are just wrapping up. Sounds like a personal issue. I need to see that horse. Yep. Ah. It's looking pretty nice, actually, I think. So the tail's a little bit awkward, but we've got a nice running horse. Maybe. I hope. Or maybe it's a greyhound. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back on Monday, and I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Thank you so much for your support. All right, so we are going to raid off. Who are we going to raid to? Bye, Lexi. Same to you. Have a great one. Yes, thank you. We are gonna raid. Oh yes, happy Easter, guys. I forgot. Easter's this week. Easter. That's crazy. We are going to raid off to Mr. Boombody. Oh, do we want to do Kanara? We can do Kanara. Alrighty. Here we go. Thank you guys so much. Have a happy Easter and a wonderful weekend. I will see you on Monday. Bye, guys.